Hey,
Hey, thanks for joining me, Jason. How are you?
pretty good. How's it going?
It's going good. I'm glad I got to get on with you. I think metadata is super cool, so I'm glad we could talk for a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Yeah, sorry I didn't have the Zoom on there till
no,
last
it's
minute.
all good. I appreciate you setting up the meeting. I sent one over at the last minute too, so
Oh,
I should
oh,
have sent it earlier.
yeah, no worries.
I was
Yeah,
sitting in my room looking at myself. Um, so yeah, I just wanted to, set up a little interview, talk a little bit more. I'm a user of metadata, I'm a customer.
yeah.
So I've got a little bit of experience in the platform.
Yeah.
Um, from y'all's website, first B2B marketing operating system, and as creatively put. I don't know. I don't know how many other businesses are claiming that right
Yeah,
now.
not very many, not yet.
I
Yeah.
don't think so. I don't think so. So, yeah, I guess to get us going, could you tell me a little bit about yourself
Yeah.
and metadata just from a business sense?
Yeah, sure. Um, so let's see, where do I start? I I've been in marketing for a long time, probably about 20 years. I've been a everywhere from a marketing analyst to marketing operations. Primarily marketing technology has been my kind of area. um, Led, you know, big marketing operations teams at big companies. The biggest was Tableau. I had a 70-person marketing operations team there. um,
Okay.
and realized through I had a goal for myself of like becoming a VP at a public company, and I reached that goal and I realized, well, that's a shitty goal. Like, that's not fun. This is actually not fun at all. And
Not what it
so,
was cracked up to be, huh?
no, got fired from Tableau because I didn't play politics very well, and then started to kind of search for my next thing because I was like, okay, I'm ready to get out of ops and more into just leading marketing because I've been around it for so long, and I really want to market to like myself because that'd be pretty easy because I've been sold to and marketed to for so long. I know what I like, I know what I don't like.
I was just going to ask you
So
about that. Yeah,
yeah,
I was going to say you've led a team of 70 something marketers. You're working on marketing technology, so you know your target audience.
yeah, yep, exactly. Um, and so I created this job for myself actually. So I started to hear about our technology in 2019, and I dug in a little bit. I got a demo, and because I was so well versed in marketing technology, I was just immediately, I was like, oh my god, this is different. There's no other company doing it like this in this crowded, space of martech. Um, it kind of held some of the values that I have, in terms of like simple attribution, but only taking credit for like sourced marketing things, putting the word influence kind of out of our dictionary.
Right. It's always a
Um,
challenge, right?
yeah, and optimizing to revenue outcomes, not leads, and vanity metrics. So like every part of the platform just really spoke to me, and called our CEO Gil. Was like, hey, I'd like to buy it, and then I'd like to help. And I consulted for the first 6 months, and then we got our Series A, and I started full time day one of the pandemic, like April 1st, 2020. And ever since then, it's been basically like to me, it feels like a dream. It's like I'm responsible for 70% of the company's revenue. We've grown over 700% in the last couple of years.
It's amazing.
From a marketing standpoint, we're building, like a audience and community of people that really like what we're doing from a marketing perspective. Um, Putting on events and things, for marketers, just trying to celebrate marketers, B2B marketers, that is. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I've been able to do what I wanted to do, use organic social quite a bit to help drive brand, um,
Great. Yeah.
help build my personal brand at the same time. So like if this doesn't work out, like I've got the next thing ready. Um, and yeah, just taking us from about $1 million to $15 million now.
That's great. Yeah. I mean, I see the value with metadata. Like I've only been using it for a short time, probably like 3 or 4 months. And I've never used anything like it before. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
And I've been working in martech, and like I've been working for software startups for close to 10 years now. I mean, in different capacities and with a few outliers there, but I mean, I haven't seen something like this before, where from like like the way it changes the way you do the ops side of things, but also just kind of the full funnel piece of it. Looking at it from a marketing tech perspective, I haven't seen other tech that really does that well. Yeah. And so it's been kind of an impressive situation for me to see that.
Nice. Well, yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. And that's kind of, that's what I saw when I first saw the technology. I was like, I don't know anything else like this. And it's partly why we're in this like interesting nebulous category thing. We're not an ABM platform, but Gil put us in there before I started, because he didn't know anything different. So my first year was trying to like claw us out of this ABM category, because we would compete with ABM platforms, but only because we didn't know any different. We're like, I was going to ask you about it, because I mean, ABM, right? ABM's hot crap right now, in the B2B world for sure. And I mean, you look at metadata, and it seems like it would fit like an ABM. Yep. If you're in an ABM op, right? Yep. You're taking that strategy, then I would think that metadata would still be a valuable tool. But I was going to ask you, what is really the driver? Like, where do your customers come from most of the time? Is it ABM shops? Are you looking at, folks that are having issues managing their paid ads? Like, what really brings them to the platform the most? Yeah, I'll show you our page. Like, our ABM isn't page. Yeah, we ran a little campaign on this. We gave some t-shirts away. People really like it. Yeah, it was kind of a fun little thing. We're gonna rebirth this thing, I think, here pretty soon. But no, like, we actually complement some. So I don't know, maybe 25 to 30% of our customers also have 6sense, but everyone knows 6sense as a sales tool. Not most people don't even, like, if you asked even like lay users of 6sense, like, is this a sales tool or a marketing tool? Like, oh, it's a sales tool. It's like, it's almost like just runs off the tongue. And so we have like maybe 30% of our customers also have 6sense, the ones that have bigger budgets and can afford, multiple technologies in that like demand stack. We also, like you said, you can run ABM programs in metadata, of course you can run ABM programs without any tool, is the truth. But the way we like to think of it is ABM is just not a technology. ABM is an approach, it's a strategy. It's a very specific thing. In fact, the term ABM was started in the 1990s. I was around, it was when we were starting to sell like these huge technology infrastructures like Siebel and Oracle in these big enterprises. And it was like, Jesus Christ, like, these are hugely complicated sales, huge dollar, amounts in the billions sometimes, like AT&T Wireless spent like $2 billion in 1999, to like implement Siebel. That's wow. You know what I mean? It's just like, so that's where it started, because it was like, well, this is a long sales you know what I mean? And there's like a lot of different stages and things you have to do. And then, demand base just glommed onto it, and they did a great job at marketing it, and so like through just marketing, this category became a real thing. And then people started associating, technologies to it. And then you started to hear CMOs just say, we need to be doing account-based marketing, and they didn't even know what it meant. But because there was this buzzword and it sounded right, and people could be like, well, well, we're not marketing to accounts. No, you fucking are. But like, we just haven't talked about it that way. So
it makes so much sense when you just say, the phrase, it just sticks with everybody, right? I mean, from executives to sales folks to marketing folks, it's like, oh, accounts and marketing. Okay.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yep. I can draw a line between those two. And so, so anyway, that's the dilemma we're in. We're a demand gen platform, in the future we'll be a marketing operating system, and what does that mean? And so, we're in the middle of creating a category at the same time as just trying to grow, and help people understand, well, where does this fit? How do you justify it? How do you pay for it? What budget category can you pay for it through now until we have that new category in your budget?
Yeah.
That's kind of, that's what we're doing now.
So, what kind of what is like a big win for you guys whenever you look at clients?
You mean like the type of company?
Yeah.
I think at this point, we're looking for customers, obviously B2B. High tech is the easiest, because they understand high growth and they need to be efficient, and you've got to be spending at least like $50,000 a month, I'd say, on digital, because of, for the experimentation part of the platform to really work. Yeah. And so it's customers that have big growth goals, and they're not doing a lot of experimentation because they just don't have the time. Maybe they don't have the resources. They're optimizing to vanity metrics like leads or even MQLs. And they're just like, oh, what's that? Why isn't that turning into revenue? So it's that kind of makeup. Usually we haven't gone huge with enterprise yet, because we're trying to grow fast, and enterprise deals are just slow, and we're trying to grow our sales team. It bogs them down. But this year we're moving, every year we'll just move a little bit more up market, and do a little bit more enterprise. And so right now it's probably if you've got between 500 and 500 and 3,000 employees, seems to be a good sweet spot. But you could also be 75 employees and just got a Series B, and you're like, oh God, what do I do now? And we have a lot of those as well.
Yeah, I see that too. And I think that, whenever you guys are bringing on clients, what does that process look like? How long does it take for a client to get started with metadata? Do you have to go through the whole implementation and sales process with each client, or is it they come on and they get access and they just start building?
Yeah, we the team takes a 3 A's approach. Let's see if I get it right. Audiences, ads, and assets, basically. And so they always start with audiences first. Let's build out a bunch of audiences. We immediately try and get our customers to go outside their comfort zone, because we're experimenting, right? It's they'll tell us, oh, this is our direct ICP, and it'll be really, really tight. Great.
Tiny audience. Yep.
Yeah. Well, okay, cool. That, and let's try this. Let's maybe go up or down seniority a little bit, or let's try this flex on this title, or let's try these new industries. And we keep all those audiences separate, and we don't mix them, so that our customers can tell, and also so the system can optimize, based on these different audience types.
And there's a lot of value there with the audience building. I see that as a really helpful tool. And it's a selling point for sure for metadata. It's because we're looking at tech platforms or social platforms like LinkedIn, and they've got certain ways that you're supposed to build the audience if you go in through that platform. But if you use metadata, you can do things like apply some different filtering, exceptions, things like that you wouldn't be able to do within the platform typically. So that's really helpful when working with executives or working with other high level marketing folks that want to have that really granular delivery, and where you can't really do it the way you want to with the native audience building.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know what the count is. We have 15 or more ways of starting to build an audience. Some of them use data from partners. Some of them use your own, Salesforce data. Some of them use G2, you know what I mean? We have all these different ways of starting audiences. And yeah, we don't put any cap on the number of audiences you can build, because we're why would we, you're trying to test, why would we limit, the number? And so
we've built a ton of them. We've got a whole bunch of audiences. We've been trying different.
It's the best way,
because trying to get the experiments down.
you don't have to think about if I build this, I'm I only have 10 left, it's like, no, just as many as you can. And then what you've probably seen too is the preview feature. It's like, oh, I built an audience, preview it. Oh, company, title, location. These are real people. Like, yeah, that looks good. Those are who I want to target. So the targeting part, the meta match, is probably the easiest to understand for marketers. You know what I mean? So it's like super clear. And it's really helpful on Facebook, of course, because Facebook doesn't have any of this. So we really unlock business targeting on Facebook. And you're not like, as personal interest, or, you're not having to use the lame Facebook.
Right. Yeah. The Facebook targeting the native targeting is really weak. And if you're in the business manager, plus you just don't even want to go in that business manager. It's so dirty. The Facebook, that whole thing is such a cluster. And I try to avoid it at all costs, but so many people work in there every day. So anything that makes it easier to do some targeting through Facebook, it's really valuable.
And what I love about it is the way we've set it up is it's our own closed ecosystem, that targeting data, and the end result is just a bunch of email addresses, right? Personal email addresses of people that match these targeting criteria. What's nice about that is it's applicable to all these channels. So like, oh, we want to unlock connected TV. Well, guess what? Connected TV uses personal email addresses to basically create the match. There's so many. TikTok, great. Be able to so the foundation of the audiences piece makes it just so easy for us to do your business querying here. The result is just all these personal email addresses, and we just send those into the whatever platform, and it creates the matches. And so it's been nice. It's nice that we built it that way, not relying on cookies or IP addresses or email addresses. Those aren't going to go away. And platforms like ad platforms will always have the ability to target based on email address, so.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but what really clinches the deal for you guys usually? Are you guys are they looking for that full revenue, view? Or are they looking for, they just want the ad ops to be easier? What is really the linchpin here?
It really, it's the focus on the revenue outcomes. It's the okay, I can run campaigns by myself in LinkedIn. I mean, you can't do it at the same scale, but sure, you can run ads in LinkedIn, you can run ads in Facebook. You can manually look at those and optimize those. You can pull reports from LinkedIn and marry them with reports in Salesforce, and then hope you've got the connection right. But you probably don't, because it's on UTMs, and it's not on people. Whereas, metadata, it's a very clear line. It's like, this person converted on this ad and they, became an MQL. Then there was an opportunity created after the date that the lead came in, and the lead is a primary contact or a decision maker on the opportunity. And then that opportunity turned into revenue, and we can see that entire thing happen because we're attached at the email address, through the whole thing. And not this fuzzy, oh, did the UTMs make it through? And did the UTMs go to Salesforce? And then it's still not at a person level. It's still at this aggregate, averages area. And so it's really that, a lot of our customers are I tried to build this, I've tried to basically build this myself, of getting just this automatic connection between the ads and the revenue. And then we just say, great, we can show you that, but then also just have the platform make automatic optimizations based on that. And so, so that's really where it usually kind of comes to a head, is the tie to revenue. And I really can see where my ads are going and what the return on those are, and all that stuff.
I thought that'd probably be it. The whole shift, the mindset move to really tying revenue together with the marketing, as I figured that's probably the driver for your whole solution. Folks are definitely looking for this right now.
Yeah.
And like you said, everyone, if you're in digital marketing, like me, I've been in digital marketing, or you worked in ABM shops, that's a big thing. You're trying to tie together your marketing initiatives with, what's happening in sales, where things are working together, and just figuring out that whole function. What is the op all the way through? Where is the impact happening? Where are things falling off? And to have just a visual funnel of that, like you guys do on your dashboard, if that's working properly, that's the bomb, and that's what people want to see.
Yep.
And I think that the ad deployment is a huge win too. Just deploying a lot of variations of ads quickly.
Yep. And that's one thing we haven't done a great job at, like, highlighting that benefit. We've been focused so much on the performance improvements, but now, because it's, sometimes it's hard to quantify, right? For a marketer, like, oh, you say you're going to save me 10 hours a week. Really? Like, where'd you get that? So we're actually doing a study with Forrester now to try and, like, really understand from our customers' perspective. Okay, great. The performance lift from using the platform and getting your ads in there. Great. That's one thing. But then, did we save you time? And if so, how much? And then what did you do with that time, that you wouldn't have been able to do before? And trying to tell both sides of the story. Because, like, honestly, if you just come to metadata for just ad performance alone, it could be expensive. You could be like, metadata is a little expensive. It's like, And let's just take the scenario where, let's say you're spending $30,000 a month on ads. And if our platform costs you $6,000 a month, then you automatically, that's 20%, of your ad spend. So, like, the platform has to immediately provide a 20% lift, and it's like, well, and so, and we have some $20,000 a month customers, and so it's like, okay, and they're getting value, so, like, okay, how do you justify it? Oh, it's the cost savings, so I'm actually able to do these other things at the same time. And so that's why we're trying to tell that side of the story. So we're not just, like, looked at as a percent of ad spend, for example, which some people do.
Well, it could enable, like, another marketing leader, like a marketing director or someone else that's not necessarily in an ad specialist to get in there and kind of manage ads during their day, and it not be like all encompassing work. If you have to activate, 20 versions of different ads with different audiences and things like that. I mean, going in that and building that in the native platforms.
Yeah.
No one's going to do that. I mean, most people aren't going to do that unless they're going to outsource that,
Yep. And then you're left wondering, like, did the people time, And then all the time we're making mistakes, because we're humans, and the copy pasting and, like, the monotonous clicking through, I'm bound to make a mistake in there, and waste some money that way too. And so, that's ultimately the vision for the product. And that's why the marketing operating system as a visionary category comes to play, because our ultimate goal is to just remove the tedious work from the B2B marketer, and it doesn't matter where in the funnel. But paid campaigns, when we looked at it, when Gil first built the product, is like, that's the place that I'm wasting most of my time. So I'm going to focus, the platform there first. But later this year, we're starting to introduce features that go beyond paid campaigns. It's like, well, what happens after a lead comes in? They don't automatically turn into revenue. There's other things that have to happen. You got to get you got to maybe nurture them. And there's marketing automation, but what happens today? I just drop them in the static, like this static sequence, that's timed out. Yep. How about I actually put them into an intelligent sequence that's just for them, that's fed with AI, both the timing, the subject lines, the body copy. And it's designed to really, like, get to that meeting, and then what happens before paid campaigns? Well, how do I figure out how much budget I'm going to spend on different things? And, like, how do I break that out? How do I build a media plan? And so maybe we'll, build something like that, with some AI in it to help you understand where best to put your budget. And so we'll start to, like, do these concentric circles outside of paid campaigns in all directions until and that's that operating system concept. It's like, let's, an operating system that you and I are using right now. It's not like I'm having to be in the background telling it how to transmit video, from, like, okay, I'm on Zoom right now.
Exactly.
Transmitting video, like,
I get what you're saying, because, like, if you're using HubSpot, you're using some other platform like Salesforce or Marketo or something. Yeah, you've got all these tools to do, like, automations, and you can trigger things and you can build out logic, but you're still in there building out that automated logic. Exactly. Like you said, you don't have an AI tool that's helping you. And I think they're probably working on something like this too, but it's like, it's a powerful thing. New AI tech is coming up, like, all over the place right now. There's so many AI startups happening out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can see that could be very powerful. I've seen like, AI for like supporting other areas of marketing too, like, AI for content, write your own ads for you kind of thing.
Yeah. We're
Like
going to start to, that's actually coming into our platform. Like,
okay.
Ad copy. Yep. So like you'll write one version and then our platform will basically pop out 4 different versions. You know what I mean?
Cool. Yeah, that's cool. That's good.
And
stuff.
we're not gonna build that technology. We're gonna go partner with like the best one out there, and that's kind of our philosophy too, is like, we're not trying to be the best at each of these things. We're going to unify and like orchestrate it all, So like, I'm not going to try and build a better outreach. Why would I do that? Everyone's going to use outreach, I'm not trying to build a better LinkedIn, but I think that these things can be operated in a much more effective way together, and that's what we're going to try and tackle.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's huge. If you had something like that, where you're like building ads and then you're getting recommendations for ads that are actually like viable.
Yep.
I mean, and the marketers are going to rag on that, I'm sure, but that's the other thing. It's like marketers are so difficult. Like you marketing to marketers and dealing with marketers every day, I mean, how is that? I mean, what kind of objections, what kind of problems do you run into dealing with marketers? I mean, they're so flippant. They're going to move on to their next shiny thing every few seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, our authenticity helps us around that. You know what I mean? So like, we're very authentic in our marketing, and we're very just like, hey, we're doing the same thing you're doing, and we know it's hard, and we're not saying we're the best at it. So like, a lot of our stuff is very much like salt of the earth people, we're very authentic. We're the same people as you all, and I think that resonates. We also try and, we're trying to be fun and entertaining, and B2B marketers appreciate that. So
yeah, I see that kind of vibe. I've seen that ad all the time on my LinkedIn feed with the guy. God, what does it say? He's got like money bags, in the ad.
Yeah. Yep. The 1 to 30 pipeline.
Don't always cracks me up.
Something like that.
Yeah. It's some like the statement seems so absurd too, like in the ad. Yeah. I'm just like, I'm like, yeah, sure, Mr. Moneybags.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. And like, I have some ads so I do an incentive for some demo ads, and it's usually just $100. I was like, hey, let's try just the most random number you can think of. And it was like $123.75. It's like, and it gets people like, wait, what? Like, why isn't that around $100? $123.76. Like
specific.
What? Yeah. So we're just trying to be fun, and we're trying not to take ourselves too seriously. So it's fun on one hand, because I feel like I know what marketers want to hear and see. And on the other hand, it makes it more challenging, because like, we got to show them things they haven't seen before to stand out, especially in martech.
Yeah. I mean, there's just so much out there.
Yeah.
It seems like I'm checking out a new technology every hour almost. I get so much advertising and so many emails and LinkedIn messages about different martech all the time. And some of it's interesting, like it's not all just stuff I'm going to ignore. Some of it, I actually go look at it and check it out. I looked at this other site the other day. It's called Orem, and they do AI call routing for sales team. Like they help you find the correct route to reach the person through AI on the phone call, which is really cool stuff, So it's just like running by the sales team. Hey guys, I don't know if you've seen this, but might save you some time calling. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just amazing the stuff that's coming out.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
But you're coming up with some really cool stuff. I guess with your platform and people, you have a lot of users now. You guys have had a lot of success. Clearly you're growing fast. What areas in the platform do you want to see people make better use of? I mean, like, are you tracking utilization? Do you have like product goals that you're working on?
Yeah. We want it to be more self-serve, as one of the areas. We focus a lot on the back-end technology, that powers all of it, versus putting a lot of effort into like the easiest, cleanest, user path, like through.
Yes. And what, this is what, whenever I deal with our account manager, old Kevin, in our deal with Kevin, we've got two things we can do, right? Like we can send a spreadsheet and have your guys like do the stuff, do the lifting for us.
Yep.
Which, the spreadsheet has got a lot of stuff we got to enter too.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's kind of like we're doing the work, but we're not doing the work. It's like, we got to just like you want to get to the place, right, where the user experience is so intuitive that they don't really have to like do this kind of spreadsheet back and forth business, right?
Exactly. Yep. And the spreadsheet specifically is one of the first things we're replacing. That's like janky. And, it's like, let's just put it in the platform. And then if we put it in the platform, maybe that's how it goes into the campaigns. You know what I mean? Is like,
I look at it like it's kind of like babysitting, right? It's like you're babysitting your client to help them get the info in the right fields. And really, like, if you go into metadata, it's not rocket science to get it done. But again, like if you're dealing with some like higher level marketing folks and, people who don't really have time to like learn the platform or don't want to learn how to do it, you're going to have this issue, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not going to go away easily.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's where we're focusing. And that's where I'd like to see, but every single release, we're adding more AI that takes, more of the work off of people. And so we'll have improvements in those areas as well. But yeah, I think those are the main areas.
Okay. Well, I think we're getting close on time, Jason. I want to be respectful. I don't know if you have a meetings coming up.
Yeah, I got somebody thinking.
Yeah, I think you're going to get taken away, so I don't want it to end abruptly here. But I really appreciate the conversation. Where can people go to learn more about metadata? Anything else you want to drop out to the listeners right now? Let it roll.
No, just check us out, metadata.io. Just get entertained, get educated. We do focus a lot on just general B2B marketing education, platform agnostic. So check out our resources area. We do podcasts, we do guides, and it's all ungated. So have at it.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks so much, Jason.
Awesome. Thanks, Alex.